Hey everyone, Michael Hammond here for your Monday morning fuel up. After a tough week last week with the loss of our dear friend and colleague Sue Buswell, it was my wife and I spontaneously went away for the weekend, caught a concert in Cincinnati, went to some of our favorite restaurants, and I think with everything that transpired, I think it's a great reminder of how important it is to tell the people that we care about in our lives how much we love them and how much we appreciate them. So my wife and I had a wonderful time in Cincinnati. We got to just do some fun stuff. We were only gone for about 36 hours, came home, took care of some things. So hope all of you guys had a great weekend. And as I reflect on all of the incredible tributes that I saw for Sue last week, and as we remember all of the fond memories, and hope I won't get choked up as we're talking about this, but I wanted to share. Sue and I had a number of conversations over the last year. And as I was reading those tributes, I think so many of us had the same experience of how we became friends with Sue. She was in kind of a career transition, and instead of getting jaded and negative, she started engaging with people. She reached out, and I think there is a few critical lessons that we can learn from our dear friend. And I couldn't think of a better tribute than to focus on some of those conversations and what she did to really embrace our industry, what she was passionate about, and more importantly, how she engaged with people. And I'll never forget getting to meet her at the gathering. We sat, we talked for a while, and she was more delightful in person than she is on video, and she kills it on all of the videos. So I wanted to share three things in those conversations that we talked about. And the first one was you've got to just lean in and start putting yourself out there. And her and I talked about how uncomfortable that is at first and how it's awkward and why would people want to listen to me, and I don't necessarily like the way I sound, or I don't like the way I look, or I don't like my background, or what are people going to think. And we talked about how important it is to get over that nervousness, that fear, that anxiety, and just start putting yourself out there. So, number one, put yourself out there. Number two, she was a master at this. Go back and watch your Suno's credit videos. Go back and look at those posts. We talked about how it's so important to add value in these videos and in the posts and when you're putting yourself out there and not sell. She wasn't selling credit services. She wasn't trying to get a job. She wasn't trying to impress people. She was passionate about sharing her credit knowledge and expertise to help other people. She was phenomenal at it, and one of the best I've seen in this industry of truly and passionately adding value without expecting anything in return. And then the third, and I think this is the area that most people forget until you start reading all of those tributes. And what you saw was Sue was a great connector. And what I mean by that is she took the time not only to click like, not only to add a comment to your post, but she would take the discussion offline. We would have a phone call. We would have a discussion. We got to meet. She drove like 3 hours so that we could meet in person. She would take the time to generally show that she cared and was interested in you as a person, not as a sale, not as an opportunity, but as a person. And that's why, as you read those tributes, so many of us had those same experiences. We talked to Sue. She wanted to know how our families were doing. We talked about the struggles and creating content. And she was just a delightful soul. So as we start off this new week and try to kind of move forward in all of that, Sue is shining down on us, looking upon us, saying, put yourself out there, add value to people, and truly take the time to get to know people, care about them more than closing a deal, selling something to them. We will sorely miss Sue. Her and I worked out an agreement where she tagged me on every one of her posts. I tag her on every one of my posts, and can't tell you how many times last week as I was posting, I put that @ sign and typed in Sue and then went back and deleted that. I will miss our friendship. I will miss that shining light that she was for our industry and that wonderful example of putting yourself out there, adding value to people, and truly taking a genuine interest in others. We will miss her, and I hope you guys can apply those principles and learn from a master. Go out there and have an amazingly blessed week.